guys, welcome back to the Paxton Creek Garden, to the bi-weekly tour video. Sorry guys, from now on our weekly series will be converted into bi-weekly series, just so because in this starting month there's not a lot to show you, because plants are growing, there isn't enough harvest, and you know, from next video on will be bi-weekly post for a garden tour, and that way we'll have more content to show you what we do throughout the 2 weeks, and the tips and tricks around the garden. So let's get started. So here is our garden, the backside garden, with 2 raised beds. Each of them are 4x8 and some containers, and here we go. So these are the early patra leaves that we are growing, and they've been doing great. It's been a month out here, and you can see finally they are growing bigger leaves, and we'll be able to harvest them soon, within 2-3 weeks. And make some delicious recipes with it. With that, there's a basil, sweet basil. We have used them in pizza. We just harvest by a couple of leaves or so every time, and just put it on our pizza. We don't harvest them in bulk. And here is a closer look at our elephant ears, or patra, or leaves, whatever you want to call them. And they've been doing great so far. We have fertilized in early days. We haven't fertilized in last 15 days, but I'm gonna fertilize again this weekend, so we'll see how they do after that. And here is the bell pepper garden with some amaranth in it, and I just watered this section, so that's why they look a little bit wilted, or leaves are down, but they're doing great. It's flowering, and some flowers are dropping because of lack of pollination. Still, we are not seeing that much pollinator yet, so hopefully we'll see a lot more pollinators in upcoming weeks. And here are some more pepper plants, and there are various varieties. A couple of them are jalapenos, a couple of them are chili peppers, the hot ones, and a couple of them are Italian peppers. And I've noticed these back ones aren't flowering yet, and I'm thinking it might have something to do with sunlight that they get, because the front ones, they are flowering and these ones are not, as you can see here. So hopefully I'm gonna wait a week or so again and see if it starts to flower. If not, then I'll add some bone meal and move them up front. That way they are getting more sunlight, and see if that starts flowering in them. Here you can see the front ones are flowering beautifully, and a lot of fruits are being set. Some of them I'm trying to hand pollinate as I walk through the garden using a electric toothbrush, or just shaking the plants. That seems to work, and still there are some blossom drop that I'm seeing. I'm not sure if it's the overwatering, so I have stopped watering them frequently as I was earlier, and we'll see how the results will be. So here is the hot chili pepper. You can see an earlier one you saw jalapeno, so here is the chili one. So we'll have a long about 4 to 5 inch chilies on here, and that you can use in various recipes, and that will spice up your food and make it real hot. So we'll see how that plant will does. This one we didn't top them off. This one we just let it grow. The other ones on the side we top them off. So we'll see how they will do, because they are still growing. They are not this big yet. And so that is it for pepper garden. Also, we have sprayed neem oil a couple of times just to get rid of some bugs and stuff, so that has helped. And here in I'm going to show you a couple of bell peppers that are coming up, not a couple more. So that's the biggest one that after the first harvest we are seeing. This is the second round, and a couple small ones have set. I'm not sure if these ones set, they might drop, but because I have noticed that if the fruit is set, then flower stays on. It gets dried, like that one you see right here. Flower is still there, it's dried and everything, but it's on there, whereas the ones that are without the flowers, eventually they just drop. So there's something to do, and there's a lack of pollination for sure in this garden. So we have tried to bring some flowers. I brought this rose from the deck to here, this holy basil. Holy basil the bumblebees seem to like, so I have put both of the pots here. And here is the bottle gourd plant that's coming up, so we'll show you some more bottle gourds harvest in 3 months or so. And yeah, these ones are the beautiful flowers. So the hanging basket from up front, I brought it in. Here are the periwinkles and marigolds, the pots that I brought from up front. I'm just trying to attract more pollinators. And here is the tomato bed. They are growing beautifully. I have about 14 tomato plants, and 10 of them are Better Boy. And here you can see Better Boy's fruit is setting. And I have used the hand pollination tricks and toothbrush trick. That way I get fruit on every flower, and you can see every flower is showing fruit. So that's the way we're gonna do it. Take a little time every morning or evening and hand pollinate every flower. That way we'll get more production and beautiful tomatoes that are there. So here is the eggplant bed, and eggplants are growing now and flowering already. Now the weather is warmed up. Most days it stays around 80 and nights are around 60 and above. So now their fruits are setting, and plants are growing more vigorously compared to the earlier days when they weren't growing. And still I see flea beetle infestation, so I ordered a Spinazoid from Amazon and sprayed Spinazoid plus neem oil, and that has seemed to give on some results. So we'll see better results on eggplant's health and more flowers coming up in the week. But I'm still hoping that mid-July and late September will be that will be the months when we will see a lot more harvest. August also. So as you can see, these Japanese eggplants seem to be doing better compared to the only purple variety, and the round variety that I got, they are doing also well. But here you can see this the early purple long variety seem to get a lot of attack from flea beetle, and it's not doing great. But hopefully now that flea beetles are dead, after Spinazoid and neem oil spray, we'll see better growth, and they are flowering a lot, by the way. So we'll see once that flower start to bloom. So hopefully we'll see better growth. And I have planted some marigolds to deter pests, so hopefully once these marigolds start to get bigger and start to produce flowers, we'll see some pest control that way, because the marigold is a good pest repellent, and I have planted them in pretty much every corner in this bed. So, and this one is the round eggplant variety, and hopefully we are getting a lot of flowers, so hopefully we'll see a lot of eggplants on these plants. And to the cucumber in this eggplant bed. I'm not sure if eggplants aren't liking this cucumber. Maybe that's the reason they are not doing it. I don't know. But here is the cucumber plant. We did a first generation cut on this cucumber, so we cut the first stem, and now it seems to have a male flower and female flower on the second generation branches. Here you can see the female flower, and all new growth is coming out. This is the second generation branch, and we will cut them once they show about 7 to 12 leaves, and then we'll cut it to get the third generation branch, which will have all female flower. All of them will be female flower on the third generation branch. So we will not cut all the new growth into third generation to get the third generation branch. We will only cut 1 or 2 of them, and the rest of them will leave second generation branch. Second generation branch will have balance male and female flower, so that we will have good pollination. And I'll make a video on it, how to do 3 generation cutting and get more production out of your cucumber plants. Stay tuned for that. And here is the zucchini. We already harvested one, and this is the second one that is growing, and hopefully there will be a lot more coming. And here is the basil, holy basil, again, different variety. Bumblebees seem to like this holy basil because it grows like a bush and it provides them shadow in the hot afternoon, and they like these purplish flowers, and you get snacking on it, I guess. And here is another cucumber plant that we are growing in the container. There are 2 plants in one 5-gallon container, and we are trellising them up on our deck. And here is some voluntary plants from bird feed that squirrel is trying to hide in this container since they are open. So, and they are growing because we keep watering them, and I just found out today that's the squirrel cub, young squirrel that is doing that. So, and you can see here I'm showing 2 chili pepper plants. One on the right was unpruned, and on the left were pruned. And this is again 1st generation cut. In chili peppers and peppers you can do 2 generation cuts, and you can get more flowers. So we'll make a video on that one too, so stay tuned for how to make that. And here is the surprise, or we have made a banana peel liquid fertilizer. You put the banana peels in a bottle or a container, and then put water, leave it for 3-4 days, and then water your plants with that water. So, and here is another cucumber plant. So that banana peel fertilizer helps with potassium, so it helps with more flowering. That's the reason we are making that. And this amaranth seems to not grow well in the container. You saw the amaranth in the bell pepper garden, and these 2 were sowed at the same time, but these ones are not doing well. I had gotta fertilize it, so hopefully I'll do this weekend. And this is another zucchini plant. There you see zucchini coming, and we got some marigold. They are starting to blossom. And here is the mint garden. You can see 8x4. We got a lot of mint. We'll freeze them, and we use them every day in our chai tea and other recipes. So we need a lot of mint. And we have beautiful marigolds here, and they're dwarf variety, and they seem to produce bigger flowers, and I just like it, love it. And here is a chili plant in the middle, and the left cow beans. So here you can see more cow beans. They're in the shed, and they were showed little late, and so they are not doing well in this mid section. On the right they are doing well, in the mid section here they are not, and on the left again here you can see they are doing well. So I don't know what's going on in the middle. I think there's too much mulch, that's the problem. And here you can see more hyacinth beans that are growing, and they are doing great. So in a month or so we'll see some flowering and harvest perhaps. And here is the blueberries. I think birds are eating them, because every time I see there is less blueberries, and I haven't caught one that is ripe. And I also gotta fertilize it with a sulfur-rich fertilizer to make the soil acidic, but I haven't done it in years. These blueberries are almost 1.5 years old, and I haven't done that, so I'll do that probably this year. And here is some pollinator, I think, trying to suck on pollen on the marigold. And that is it. This will sum up our tour for today, and then we'll look at some of the things we did in our garden throughout this last 2 weeks. And so let's get to look at that. So we fertilized our pepper plants and cucumbers and tomatoes and eggplants and everything pretty much with bone meal, because now they will be in the flowering stage, and within a week or 2-3 weeks at least, and throughout the season they will continue to flower. So this bone meal needs time to break down and provide fertilizer. So we use Job's organic bone meal, and we just put every per plant we put 1 tablespoon per every plant. and that's 1 or 2 tablespoons. So that's what we did, and depending on the plant size, and that will provide enough nutrition to make sure that plant produces flower. And flowering is important because flowers will become fruits eventually. So that's why we added bone meal, and then week or two after we'll put tomato fertilizer, the vegetable fertilizer from Jobs, or Walmart sells export brand fertilizer, the organic ones, and they seem to be a little bit cheaper than the Jobs. We had Jobs fertilizer earlier, so now we're just gonna use generic Walmart brand fertilizer, but again organic one. So stay tuned, I'll make a video on how to use them fertilizer. So, and here I'm trying to grow some more bottle gourds, so I am soak the seeds for 48 hours, and then I'm gonna moist the towel, put the seeds on them, arrange it, and then put it in the Ziploc bag and put it on a heat mat or leave it out in the sun. That way we'll get a faster germination. Bottle gourd takes a minimum 2 weeks or more to germinate. These seeds are tough. Some people even cut it, and that way they get a little faster germination, but I'm not gonna try to do that. I'm just gonna put the wet towel and leave it in the Ziploc bag, and hopefully that will get a good germination. And if not, then I'll just put it on a heat mat, and heat mat will definitely work. So and here are the patra leaves, or orvis, or elephant ears. We just provided some tilling, that way they can breathe, because I didn't use compost soil or the bagged soil. I just grabbed some soil from my garden, the clay soil, and mix it with a little bit of compost, not much. So they are getting so much stiff, so they need a little bit tilling, just about upper 1 inch or ½ inch. That way they get some oxygen. And so I did it with all of my patra leaves. And here on next we'll have a cucumber that we did first generation cut that I told you about. So you can see the main stem, and then I'll just top it off like you will do it with paper, and that way you will see a lot of new growth of second generation branches, and then you will have more balanced flower, male and female. And here you can see tomato. We are doing hand pollination with a brush, and then next we'll show you also tapping some flowers. If I'm carrying brush, I'll do it with brush. Brush makes it so much easier. With hand you might break it, and there are chances. I broke one of the eggplant flowers, so I'm not taking risk anymore, but I will just show you here how I did the tapping. Tomatoes are okay with the hand tapping, but eggplants flowers are a little delicate, although they might not look delicate, but they are delicate, trust me. And so you want to use brush. Brush is will be softer to the touch to them, and you won't break it off. And here is the zucchini. We harvested the first zucchini, you can see, and we let it grow about this size and harvested. Although after cutting it open, I thought we found a little bit of the seeds growing, so next on we'll harvest them a little bit more young, so that way we don't get that much seeds in them. Here you can see it's a decent size zucchini, but I wish I would have harvested it a little bit early. So next zucchini on we'll harvest them early. And then we harvested all of the lettuce that was growing in the tomato bed during this last week, and just because of this lettuce there was moisture building out, and I didn't want it to get tomatoes affected. And here are some birds that visit our bird feeder. And here is our rabbit. He or she visits every day. And I think he or she gonna have some kids running around here, so we'll look out for them. And here is the baby squirrel that I told you about. She or he keeps hiding the the seeds from the bird feeder, and they hide them in the container, so then they grow into plant. And here is a frog. He's keeping the bad bugs out. And here is the fertilizer we got from Walmart this week, and the vegetable fertilizer is 356, and the bone meal. So we'll be using them alternatively every 15 days. And that is it, folks. If you like this video, please share, subscribe, and like. Thank you. We'll see you next week.